Prepare to be decimated.
And looking back, we don't think 12 resets a year has been the right call for League. So, we're moving to 6 per year.
Six resets, bro. All right, yo, what's up, guys? It's your boy Johnny. Anyways, we're back with some more. Actually, it's not really a gameplay video. Actually, we're actually just gonna be going over the season 1 reveal gameplay preview, ranked resets. Essentially, we're gonna be going over the League of Legends dev update that came out today, November 25th. I'm actually was watching the video. I didn't finish the whole thing, so I kind of know most of it, but I'm gonna go over it and just kind of go over it with you guys as well. I wasn't thinking about it when I saw it. I just woke up not too long ago, so I call scruffy and shit. I mean, I look scruffy on my videos too, but I don't really care. But yeah, I just saw it and I was like, oh shit, maybe I should make a video about this. So we're just gonna go back. We're gonna go back over everything, and yeah, we're just gonna run it back essentially.
Hey folks, I'm Andre, also known as Medler.
And I'm Paul, also known as Pabro. We're back with the final dev update of 2024. Today is November 8th. We just wanted to give you a warning. We will be talking about Arcane spoilers in our first section. So if
Okay, so I'm probably just gonna skip the Arcane stuff because I'd never watched Arcane. I mean, I saw a little bit of it. I don't really understand what's going on because I never watched any bit of Arcane. I don't know anything about it. So maybe I spoiled it. I don't know what's going on in my head. I don't really care. I'll watch it eventually. But in case you guys did not watch Arcane, I am just going to skip it to the theme, so no one gets spoiled. Okay, how about we just do that?
Lead on League of Legends.
And I'm Steph, aka 100 Piece Nuggets, or the Cosmetics Lead.
In the last dev update, Medler and Pabro mentioned we're introducing thematic seasons. So today, we're here to talk more about what a season is, what to expect with the theme, and what the experience is going to be like both on and off the Rift.
You can tell that homie is not comfortable in front of the camera, but it's okay.
Over the years, we fleshed out the world and regions of Runeterra, as well as various alternate universes like Star Guardian, High Noon, or Darkstar. We've highlighted these worlds in moments like summer events or narrative drops around champion releases. Now we want to take that immersion further with our new seasons.
So next year, we're going to have 3 seasons, each around 8 patches long, where we're going to follow champions around different regions of Runeterra. Each one is going to have its own theme, but we're going to have an overarching narrative that connects them throughout 2025.
And each season's theme will be the anchor for most of the content going into the game as well.
In the past, we've had these big releases like Swarm or Spirit of Hearthhome. They're super memorable and fun, but
Did you guys like Swarm? I thought Swarm was trash. I played that thing like twice. I felt like it was not mechanically engaging enough, so I found it was boring. Like, I know you could kind of do it more mechanically, but I felt like it was basically the game was playing itself, so I just didn't even bother.
Also not connected to a larger integrated moment. And in seasons, we want everything to connect together. That means things like gameplay updates, modes, mini games, and champions will mainly have a strong tie to the season's theme.
We'll have a bunch of skins that celebrate that seasonal theme, but we'll also continue to invest in a wide variety of skin lines that are unrelated to the season as well. So expect to see cosmetics celebrating Lunar Revel or things like bees.
Ultimately, our goal is to immerse you in the parts of the world that we're visiting.
Yeah, homie just got red a little bit. Did you not see that? Like,
from the moment you open the client to the moment you see the victory screen and everything in between. So enough tiptoeing around it. We know that you want to know what season 1 is. So for our first ever season, we are headed to the land of strength and domination, Noxus.
Hey everyone, I'm Riot Froxon, lead gameplay designer for League.
And I'm Riot Oberon, project lead of the Summoner's Rift team. Next year, when you step onto the Rift, it'll look a little bit different than you're used to. We want seasons to be a way you can immerse yourself in League, especially once you load onto the Rift. So we have a preview of some of the updates you can expect in Season 1 of 2025.
We're headed to everyone's favorite region of fierce fighters, cloak and dagger magic, and strength, above all. Prepare to be decimated.
we're gonna act like we didn't see that.
Beyond the Noxian invasion of the map, we've also made some gameplay improvements and changes for next year.
First, it wouldn't be a new season without an overhaul to the item system. Just kidding. But there are some Noxian-themed boot upgrades. but it's not as simple as picking them up from the
Not gonna lie, those boots looking fresh, bro. Those boots are looking fresh. Not gonna lie, those are looking dope. Let's see if I can guess which one. Let's see if I can guess which boots are going to be which. I'm gonna guess. Hopefully, you guys can see my cursor. Oh, you guys can't see this one over here. Let me move myself just for a little bit. Well, there's only so many boots that are in the game, so we can do this just from like the baseline of like the colors and everything. Well, these are gonna be a Swifties upgrade. That's for sure. These are going to be the Icathian upgrades. These are going to be the Ionian upgrades. Plated steel caps. Merc treads. Sorks. And then Berserkers, I'm going to assume. They're going to be Sorks. Either that or these are the two I messed up. But I'm assuming this is... or this is Icathian and this is Sorks. Because these should be Ionians. Ionians are red. So I'm going to guess these are Ionians. These are plated steel caps for sure. Berserkers are yellow. These are going to be Merc treads. They look like Merc treads. And then these other ones look like Merc treads. These are Swifties for sure. It's like the white. Normally Sorks are kind of more blue-ish. But these ones have like the fucking little spikies like this that are making me think that these are going to be the Icathian upgrades. So I'm going to go with these are Sorks. These are for sure Mercs. Sorks and Ionians and Berserkers. Those are going to be the boots, guys. I bet you $5.
shop. In fact, they come along with a new mechanic, Feats of Strength.
There are 3 objectives that your team can claim throughout the game. First Blood, First Tower, and first 3 epic jungle monsters. If your team is the first to complete 2 of these 3 objectives, so for example, First Blood and First Tower, your Tier 2 boots will transform into new versions with slightly better stats.
Okay.
You'll also...
Now, one thing I'm afraid about is how this might affect certain champions in the game. Now, they're not going to tweak the items too heavily. And it's really just for the boots. I don't see how boot upgrades are going to make you BGG. But depending on the stats, it could be really strong in certain cases. And if that's the case, then I guess that's pretty dope because it makes the game more objective focused, but also a little bit more early game focused too. So like you're not going to have like these stall outs where people are really just going to focus on just trying to farm. It's going to make the game more interesting to play in the early game. And it's going to give pro play a lot more fun to watch as well. Because then depending on the team compositions and like, yeah, it's going to be really interesting. I like that because it's just adding more variables to the games essentially. Especially now that in pro play, you're going to have, I forgot what it's called, but it's basically like the draft where it's like Fearful Draft or something like that. Where it's like, basically you can't pick the same champion in the same series. So if it's a best of 5, Ash can only get picked once in the whole series. And that's cool because now you can't just abuse like, oh, well, I got the plated steel caps against this meta, right? Where it's like, oh, if we just always do this at this time and we win the fight, we just win the series basically because now we have like the new Berserkers on like Kog'Maw, Lulu or some shit, you know, some really boring ass fucking metagame shit where it's like, I don't mind there being some metagames, but there's so many metagames because you can't pick the same champs. It just makes it that you feel like it's not going to be the same thing over and over and over again. So that's going to be interesting. And you're going to find teams that are going to have like their strats that they're going to be really, really, really good at, and other teams that aren't going to be good at those strats. And I think this opens up the game to being a lot more interesting, and you're gonna have regional I guess you could say like regional strengths and weaknesses, and we're gonna see how that actually affects the game as a whole.
Boots will transform into new versions with slightly better stats. You'll also get access to powerful Noxus-themed boots, which you can purchase as a final upgrade. We want Feats of Strength to celebrate early game successes without immediately snowballing the game out of control. We're experimenting with different types of power progression to see how it feels for a reward in the early game to open up more choices in the late game.
We're also introducing Nexus turret respawning, an incredibly frustrating...
Okay. Now, this one I think should have been put into the game a long time ago. I think the fact that, especially since Void Grubs were put into the game, turret snowballing, even though they nerfed grubs, but like the whole grub pushing meta became kind of busted, and split pushing became even stronger in certain ways, and that also made the meta kind of annoying in certain ways too, where it's like you could just go for like a 6 grub play, and then if you have the team that could just take all your turrets, you would just get pushed to infinity, and then, well, once you lose all your fucking inhibs and your Nexus turrets are dead, it's basically GG 90% of the time. Now, it might not be 90% of the time, but it might be like a 70%, or like an 80%, 70%, just because those respawning could be the difference between, you know, teammates having like another objective, another hurdle to go over to actually winning the game. So I think this is a good update. I know people who like to split push are not gonna like it, but I think no matter what, for the most part, if you get a nice clean ace, you're still gonna win the game anyways. It's more for like these annoying solo queue scenarios where it's like you have like a Rengar, like triple TP strats in solo queue with like these backdoors with 6 grubs, super annoying strategies, like really cheesy gameplay. Which, I mean, it is what it is. But overall, I think it's gonna highlight more of like, okay, well, now you really need to get that nice clean ace to really help you win the game, which might make people want to play more as a team. So we'll see how that goes. But I personally like this update. I think it should have been in the game a long time ago.
We're also introducing Nexus turret respawning. An incredibly frustrating experience is just winning a late game teamfight only to lose your Nexus turrets. You kept the game alive, but at what cost? Now it feels like your team is doomed to hang around in your base for another 200 years, babysitting an open Nexus. To give your team a better chance at coming back from these situations, your Nexus turrets will now respawn after a set time once they're destroyed. Now, your team can rally for an epic comeback without having to worry about a backdoor cast-in.
Now, my question is this going to be a permanent upgrade to the game, or is this only for the Noxus map? That's a cool thing to see, because I wouldn't mind it only being on Noxus too. I think might as well add it to the whole game, but it would be pretty dope if it's only on the Noxus, and that's pretty cool, because that also make it so like throughout the year, the game is going to be everlastingly changing as well, and then this might not be something that you can do in the next month, and I think this is pretty cool. I think it also gives a lot more content to the game. A lot of the content that people like uploaded like years and years ago kind of sucks in a way, but I feel like anyways, like, you know, content you'd make like 5 years ago about the game shouldn't necessarily be like fully or like very useful to the game now today. And I think that's a testament of like showing that like Riot's actually trying to make their game, you know, continuously be playable by like newer generations, and you know, the people who come to play the game, there's always something new to look forward to, which a lot of games didn't do. Like a lot of multiplayer games, they usually just get like their game. That's why Dota kind of made Dota 2, right? I think this is the difference. What Riot's doing is that they're just adding stuff to the game, changing how the map is being played. Well, I feel like Dota hasn't changed like that at all. I don't know. I don't play Dota, but from what I would see, from what I understand, it never did, which is also cool for the purist. But I think if you want a game that's going to last the test of time, this is how you do it. And I also think it's good for content creators because it makes more room for people who want to make content about the game. They feel like they could come in and be like, okay, this is how you play the Nexus map. Like, this is how you play the Noxus map, right? So like, even for me going forward, this is going to be interesting because now I feel like I have more space as a content creator to make stuff about the game. While as before, if you were to start making content from like season 1 all the way up to like season, I'd say even like 6, 7, 8-ish, when it came to playing the map, there were some changes over time, like the dragon and stuff, but it was basically all the same. But these little details that you're gonna be seeing too, there's gonna be more. It really helps you look at it like, okay, there's way more in terms of like playing the game, playing a champion with this specific map, and how you can actually make it work.
We're also adding some new minor runes to rebalance some of the vision-related options in the domination tree. Sixth Sense. Grizzly Memento.
So I'm gonna assume Sixth Sense is you have a sweeper for free.
Tree. Sixth Sense.
Right? Because I don't know, we would have to see, but it looks like he just got I'm assuming he got a sweeper for free, because it's like, what else would it be? Like, either if he just swept, I don't see him doing anything else. And what a sixth sense is, you just having like kind of like almost like precognition type shit. So yeah,
Grizzly Memento.
I don't know what that was. I really wouldn't know.
Grizzly Memento.
Is it like an aftershock?
A Deep Ward.
I'm gonna assume Deep Ward. If he does, Jindal is clearing that one. Does it make it so a vision lasts after?
As well as a new addition to the sorcery tree called Axiom Arcanist, which makes ultimates more powerful. We also couldn't resist changing items just a little bit, so we're adding some small scope adjustments to tank items and adding a new item called Bloodletter's Curse. Well, new-ish. It'll look familiar if you've spent time in Arena. But if you haven't, Bloodletter's Curse reduces the target's magic resistance from repeated spell hits.
Okay, this item is going to be dangerous. Dangerous but good. I think it's only going to be good on champions like Cassiopeia, maybe Rise, Singed. Champions, Malzahar, champions that have like ticking over time. And I'm assuming this is going to be, it's put into the game. So when you're up against a tank in a game that you have a full AP team, you can deal with it. Because if you were to go like 3 to 4 magic resist items, 90% of the time, like a tank would just eat your damage and you would never be able to play at that point as a magic damage dealer. So I'm assuming that's the reason for why it's getting put into the game. My question is, how are they going to tune tank items to be balanced around these items? Because these items could get out of control really easily. We'll see how that goes.
Which is sort of like an AP version of Black Cleaver.
Finally, let's dig into the biggest update of the season, Adakon, Bringer of Ruin. The new...
How do you say this guy's name?
Let's dig into the biggest update of the season, Adakon, Bringer of Ruin. The new epic jungle monster is drawn to death and destruction. He will spawn only once at 20 minutes on either the top or bottom side of the map, whichever side has seen the most champion damage and kills by 14 minutes.
So this is cool, guys. Basically, I went over this before, but this is essentially what Baron's going to be before the Baron, which I like. I like this because I think Baron is a little bit of a boring objective to kill in terms of how it affects the map. Because all Baron does is really make people push. Which a lot of times, if you have 6 grubs Baron, you take all the inhibs and then it's GG. I think Baron should be pushed a little bit further to really help people close out games, kind of like Elder. Sorry. I think Baron should be like, it should be like you have Otacon, then you have potentially Baron, then you have Elder. You get what I'm saying? Where it's like Elder is literally that thing where it's like, okay, we really don't want to see games go over 35, 40 fucking 5 minutes because that shit's boring as fuck. And we want you to win the game because for viewership it's terrible, but also for gameplay, I don't think people want to play Slugfest to just lose to an Elder. So it's like you might as well just have the Elder earlier, right? Or like you don't have Elder at all, and then it's like sometimes you just can't end your games. That's what I'm trying to say. But I think there should be an objective that's before that, that's a little bit funner, that gives people the option to play a little bit more aggressively, and you'll see how it works.
To signal where he'll make his entrance, Adakon's arena will spawn, adding new permanent walls to that side of the map. Adakon's dark influence will also cause blood roses to grow periodically in the areas where champions have been killed. More death means more roses. Blood roses drop bloody petals for your entire team, which stack any number of times and last through the entire game. For each petal collected, your whole team gains a small experience and power boost. So if you see one, grab it.
Okay, what I like about this, guys, I think this is cool. I think this is something that makes the game, it's like, depending on how strong it is, because since anyone could take it, you could literally just have a Bard roam the mat and collect them if you wanted to, right? Like, if you think about it, like, Bard could literally collect them like their chimes if he really wanted to, which could be a strat, which could also be really strong. But that also is like, it's cool because I don't think these are things that are going to be too like pro play focused. I think these are like changes that are going to be fun for like sorry, I'm going to sneeze potentially. I think these are changes that are going to be cool for casual, and it's nothing that's going to be tipped too far for pro play. Kind of like the embers and like having the embers on the floor. I think these are like little cool little things that like can make people who are more casual enjoy the game too. Like just having these little thematic things and like things to kind of look forward to each time the season kind of changes. I think these are pretty cool. You know, even like the little honey fruit and shit. I think these are all things that are pretty cool to the game, and it makes the game feel a little bit more alive and less robotic, which is cool. I don't have a problem with these at all. I think they're really cool.
Otacon has two forms, Ruinous and Voracious. Higher action games spawn Ruinous Otacon, who you might want to fight up close and personal to avoid his constricting rings of damage.
So that's interesting too, because that could be good and bad in the sense of if you have a bunch of ranged champions, that could be bad. You get what I'm saying? So it's like having melee champions against this is actually more beneficial because you're able to tank the damage, potentially heal the damage, and you being close to it is more normal than a ranged champion. Because then if you were to get converged on by a team that has a bunch of ranged champions, but you are ranged champions, you're put at a disadvantage because now you have to kite off of it and now you're getting hit by the rings. So like these are all like little small details, guys. We got to pay attention to this. So like going like full range compositions might be not beneficial for you for this.
Which creates the perfect chance for an ace and a steal. Killing Ruinous Otacon grants bloody petals to the team who kills him and spawns a grove of blood roses in the area for anyone to collect.
Ooh.
Voracious Otacon spawns in lower action games. He does less damage to his enemies, but as his name implies, is hungrier. As his health gets lower, he gets an increasingly more powerful drain ability based on missing health.
Okay, so that's like some fiddlestick shit right there. That's cool and interesting to see because that still is hitting a lot of like ranged champions, but champions with like super high range might be able to juke it. But that's interesting to see here.
The team who takes down Voracious Otacon gets a one-time rebirth buff, similar to Guardian Angel. So now you really have a reason to force that team fight.
We're introducing Otacon for a couple of reasons. First, unless you're T1, a 20-minute Baron is pretty tough to get. So we're moving Baron's spawn back to 25 minutes and providing another mid-game macro option in the form of Otacon.
I like that. I feel like Baron was spawning way too early, and the way the game is made right now, I think with like shields, heals, and champions that just have like dumbass fucking stats and shit, and like the gold influx for certain champions as well, like if either it's supports or the jungle role. I think a lot of champions, or like if you're strong enough, and especially because you're able to get so much gold now from turrets early game with the plates, grubs, and all that stuff. By the time 20 minutes hit, a lot of times, sometimes people have like already 2 items if they're fat enough, going on to like your 2.5 items. And if most people on your team, especially the tank or like a champion that has like a lot of like sustain, has those items, they could actually do Baron like almost on spawn. So I'm happy that Baron's getting pushed back to 25 minutes. I felt like these early Barons were kind of boring in terms of like just snowballing the game, and I felt like the objective itself should be something that's a little bit more late game macro focused, for helping you to really open the base and crack the base, rather than just like, you know, playing the map, forcing fights, and actually taking turrets, or contesting the next dragon and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Which leads up to Elder and stuff. So like I was saying before, I think it should be Otacon, then Baron, then Elder should be like, and then in between you have the dragons, and then the last objective of the game to really be like, okay, you should win, is the Elder, which I think is really cool.
Second, based on how Otacon plays out each game, we hope to see more different and interesting game states in both mid and late game. And we feel that designing an objective whose spawn location, form, and rewards are decided by how you play should make each game of League feel more varied.
And that's true as well, guys, because like if you play a lot more aggressive, it will be different than if the game is more passive. But also, if that also leads to macro decisions where it's like if it spawns top side or bot side, that could lead to you chaining objectives or you having to trade an objective, right? So it's like, let's say it spawns on the bot side, Dragon might not be spawning, Dragon might spawn, so you might be able to get a 2-for-1, but then you might give up the Baron. But that might be what you need to tank the Baron after that. And then after you tank the Baron, you're able to have this lead for the rest of the game as well. So it's going to add like a lot of different variables, like I was saying, which I'm excited to see, because the game was definitely getting stale in terms of like the Dragon Souls, Baron trade-offs to win the game. I think this is something that might be able to like bridge that gap in between of before the Baron comes and be a little bit more interesting to see how that actually plays out in the future.
Our goal is for every gameplay change to make League better. As we move to seasons, this remains the same, so these changes were designed for the long term. That said, we'll keep an eye on how they're landing and make adjustments if needed. But for now, Archon and all the other updates are here to stay for good. We can't wait to see how these go as you start your climbs.
Okay, so Otacon is he like more of is he gonna be just on the Noxus map, or is there gonna be something else on the Noxus map, or is he just gonna be there forever? I'm cool with it being there forever. It'd be dope if it was something different, like every season. But I mean, that's a lot of work for them, and it's a lot for us to try to encapsulate as well. I don't have a problem if they were to change it, but so apparently the Nexus turret thing is gonna stay, which is dope. I'm happy with that. Let's see how it keeps going. Let's see what else they have to say
Next year.
As part of building seasons, we took a look at how rewards would be part of the overall seasonal experience. That led us to updating our reward systems. That means things like event passes, champion mastery, honor rewards, etc. We felt that this was a great time to address some problems that have built up. We're going to dive into those details, so bear with us.
First, over the years, these systems have become needlessly complex. With an excessive number of currencies, unnecessary steps to craft and claim rewards, overlapping loot types, we could go on. I've been given some key fragments that you have to then craft into a key that you pair with a chest, that you open up to get another key in a chest and some essence that you open up to get a skin shard that you pair with some orange essence or reroll to eventually get a random skin. That sort of level of unnecessary complexity.
Not only is it unnecessary, like most players who've played the game for like 10 years, which is I think a lot of the player base still, I'd say there's still more people who played the game over a long period of time than there are more new players. So like 90% of the time, these players don't need any of this shit, and it's just a waste, so.
Going on.
Secondly, those systems are all scattered throughout the client. What you can earn, how and where you track it, etc. sucks. And third, events and the rewards being only sometimes available make some moments less rewarding to play League.
So, here are some of the changes we're making. There will always be a battle pass active, with both a free and a paid track, with the price the same as an event pass today. You'll get pass rewards through the tracks, meaning we're removing the event tokens and shop.
There will be 2 passes per season, with them tying into each season's thematic. That means most of the rewards will reflect what's going on in and around the game, and fewer random rewards. We'll have the same number of passes per year at 6, with a longer average duration per pass.
We're also moving most of our scattered reward systems to the free track of those battle passes. So, most rewards will now be in one place, with systems like Honor and Champion Mastery feeding into the pass. For example, having a high Honor level will give bonus to pass experience earned.
You can earn 12 skins per year with the free pass. Half of these skins will be themed to the season you unlock them in. We'll also be simplifying the loot and crafting system. Orbs will always be available, so Masterwork chests, for example, will get phased out since they serve such a similar purpose. Overall, we want the pass to be the core vessel for how you track and earn rewards. If you choose to buy the paid version, we also want it to be very clear what you're getting and how to make the most of it.
Now, these elements have a ton of moving parts to them. There's a lot more details than what we've talked about just here. We'll cover that all in the dev blog that's out right now. Switching gears a bit, I want to talk about another change for next year that isn't quite tied to season.
Okay, let's gonna talk about the whole battle pass stuff. That's pretty cool. I don't think there's much to say about that. I think making battle pass, but I think Valorant's battle pass was a bit better. I feel like I never need to buy the battle pass for League. I feel like it was just like a waste. unless there was something very specific I wanted. I feel like the only times people would buy battle passes or if they want like mythic essence or some shit like that. I'm pretty sure. So we'll see how it goes. But like, if you're gonna make it a little bit all universal, it might be worth buying now.
But instead, by feedback from all of you, ranked resets. These have been a topic of a lot of conversation in recent years, particularly when it comes to feelings around how often you want to restart your climbs, how fast a climb should be, what feels rewarding versus what feels like a grind, etc. And looking back, we don't think 12 resets a year has been the right call for League. So, we're moving to 6 per year.
6. Okay. Okay. 6 resets, bro. You want me to grind up 6 times per year? Okay, this climb better be good. Like, the LP gains and shit should be decent then. Let's see. If the LP gains are actually good, and it doesn't feel like I'm wasting my time playing the game sometimes, I might actually do it. We'll see how it goes, because it might be a fucking mess. I remember there was one year where like the LP games were just so fucking good that you had like Emerald players who are playing in like almost Master because they got lucky. But let's see what happens. Hopefully they're joking.
Okay, just kidding. Please put down
Okay. Oh, okay, they're joking. They trolled me. Good job. Because 6, I'm like, you go fuck yourself.
on the pitchforks. We're going back to one large reset at the start of each year with no additional resets during the year.
Okay. I like this. I like this. I like this. I like this because I am tired of having to grind. Because I used to just grind my accounts up. There's a reason why my accounts have not been all diamond. It's because I don't have the time to grind up all my accounts to diamond like twice in a year. Like once I get my account up to diamond, it might go to demote and I might play a couple games to keep it up there. I think season 9 was like around the last time where I had all my accounts diamond, because getting them all to master, in my opinion, isn't worth it. Like I don't have time for that shit, but I'm happy about this. Let's keep going.
Rank system tuning in terms of the size of the January reset, the number of the games to climb on average, and other systems will be similar to the numbers we used back in 2022 and before. That said, there will still be 3 Victoria skins you can earn, 1 for each season. If you want to earn each skin, you will need to win 15 ranked games during that season. Again though, neither your visible rank nor your MMR will reset except in January.
Next up, we want to chat about a potential replacement for Quick Play that we'll be trying in some regions. It's called Swift Play, and it's meant to be a lower stakes experience than Summoner's Rift, though with more strategic elements than you'd find in, for example, ARAM. You'll still have the same core elements that you'd expect to find in a game of Summoner's Rift, farming, snowballing, team fighting for objectives, etc. But with added changes to keep all players more competitive, like ramping gold and XP as the game goes on. Those changes won't make it so you can suddenly jump ahead of your opponent if you're 0 and 10, but they will make it so that even if you're down, you're never completely out of the game.
The fact that Swift Play is also less punishing when behind should also make the mode ideal for those of you looking to play with friends you wouldn't be willing to put your LP on the line for. As mentioned, Swift Play will be rolling out in January to replace Quick Play in select regions, so we hope you'll give it a try and let us know what you think when it hits live. We also have a blog dropping today with more details, so be sure to check that out. And last, but hopefully not least, we've got some changes coming to the practice tool. Over the years, you've told us that it's a useful but somewhat limited way to get better at League. The most common desire we've seen people bring up is to practice with other players, whether it's in one-on-one duels with a friend or on a full teamfight drill with a pre-made team.
Practice Tool wasn't built with multiplayer in mind. And we've had some cautions about how League could be a lot less fun if the optimal way to get better is to spend almost all your time in Practice Tool rather than playing real games. But we do think we've likely been too cautious here. So we're going to be giving multiplayer Practice Tool a try.
Okay, yes. Now, all I hope is that they don't track the hours spent on multiplayer Practice Tool, because I think the reason is because they think people are just going to sit on Practice Tool and just make only videos about Practice Tool and just only play Practice Tool. People are not going to play ranked. People are just going to fuck around and essentially custom Practice Tool Fantasy World forever. Which, if they want to, I think it's fine. I mean, I think if you want to just dick around and Practice Tool with a friend for like a couple hours, yeah, all for it for you. I think this is really good for teams. I think it's going to be really helpful for teams to practice scenarios, practice out potential team fights in certain ways. You can do like scrims in practice tool, which can be pretty cool. I think in terms of, high elo players wanting to like practice matchups, I think it's dope. Instead of you having to go in through a game, farm out to get your item, you can just jump in, skip to a certain part. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think this is going to be good for the game as a whole. I'm happy they're adding it in.
See that on the PBE soon. It's an experimental feature, and we'll probably encounter an interesting range of bugs. That said though, we're looking into whether we can ship it as part of season start in January. And if that's not on track, we'll give you an update as to where it's up to.
Before we wrap up,
My question is, where the fuck is the Valorant replay system, guys? We still are waiting for that. I'm not a big Valorant player, but where the fuck is the Valorant replay system? Okay, let's go.
one last seasons thing. We'll be changing up how we name patches to match seasons. So instead of patch 15.1 coming out in January, it'll be patch 25.s1.1, calling out the year, season, and patch number. Season 2 will then kick off in patch 25.s2.1. You get the idea.
Okay, that is it from us today. The next time you hear from us will be in January, at the start of the season. We'll be back then to share some extra stuff that'll come out later in Season 1. We do want to acknowledge, though, that we've covered most of the big changes that you'll see day 1 next year. That said, still got a few surprises left.
And of course, we'll have the cinematic to kick things off. To no one's surprise, we can confirm that it's also going to focus a lot on Noxus and Noxian champions, but that's all we can share for now.
We hope you all have a great December, great holiday season, and a happy new year. Thanks so much for everything, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Bye.
All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Guys, let me know down below what you guys think about a lot of these changes. I think they're going to be pretty dope. I think they're going to be pretty cool. I'm actually curious to see how a lot of these things are going to be played out in the future. When they come out, we'll be making videos about them. Until then, that's it for me and for this video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.